get off here.
Well, thank you, Senator Baucus. Mr. Chairman, thank you. As many of my colleagues have pointed out, we've seen over the last 22 months private sector job growth, about 3 million jobs, but still insufficient to meet the demands of families throughout this country. And indeed, I think we've got to begin with the notion of the benefits that were available to American working families over the last several years should be continued. And also make the point that we have historically viewed this program as emergency spending. It was not offset. There was one occasion in '82 in which I believe that there was an offset, but it was a tax on employers and a tax on those receiving the benefits, because unemployment benefits are taxable. At a time we've just disposed of, or conceptually agreed to, reducing payroll taxes. Adding to those taxes seems to be counterintuitive. So I think we're at a point now where the history strongly suggests that we have to provide continuous benefits as we have in the last few years, and we have to do it, and I would urge to do it under the emergency basis that we've always adopted. One aspect of extending the benefits to the 99 weeks is the logic of this program. It is countercyclical. If we truncate the number of weeks, we might find ourselves in a situation where still we're looking at 8% unemployment. In my state of Rhode Island, it's 10% unemployment, and then people will be left without any support. If, in fact, we do have an extended program in the economy, and we hope it does improve, just the nature of the program, they won't be able to exercise those weeks. So the logic really is to, go big, not go small. And I hope we can pursue that logic. I know we have been talking, the staffs have been talking, Mr. Chairman, in a very collaborative and I think very constructive way about some of the reforms that would be acceptable in the program, and some, frankly, that would cause, I think, difficulties on our side, but also, I think, would not be helpful to working families. One of the things that I think is important to stress, too, is that this really is as close as you can get to a working class, working person benefit. You've got to work to collect. You have to have a record of work. So we're talking about people who have worked for years, who are now without employment, need the help. Their employers have paid into the system with the expectation they'd have this help. And as Senator Baucus pointed out, we're in a job market that it has 4 applicants for every 1 job. We're in a job market, we're seeing long-term unemployment, record long-term unemployment, harder and harder for people to find out. So again, I think this all argues for continuing the program and doing it in the way we've done over the last several years. One of the other aspects about the sort of the impact of this program is that it is helping our middle class barely stay above water. One of the interesting points I found is that the median income of these UI recipients, these households, in the year before they collected was $55,000. We're not talking about a program that is targeted to the lowest households in this country. We're talking about working people. And I've heard the stories, and I'm sure you have, Mr. Chairman, too, of in this economy, most households have 2 spouses working. One may be lucky enough to have their job, but without the benefits that unemployed spouse is able to obtain, they're in danger of losing their home, of not being able to continue to do the things that they've always done. So this is a program that I think is hugely beneficial to middle-income Americans, and it has to be continued. There's been some sort of talk, too, about, well, this program is really, it's useful, but it provides disincentives to work. A $300 a week check barely replaces half of what people were earning before they lost their job. But moreover, the academic studies, and one that was just released 2 days ago by the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco, clearly points out that the critical issue here is the lack of aggregate demand. Companies are ready to hire, but they're only ready to hire when more people want to buy their products. That's the problem. And again, this program goes to that problem too. There is, on both sides, economists from Alan Blinder to Mark Zandi have indicated for every dollar we put in to workers' unemployment insurance, we get $1.67 return. That's probably the biggest pay for, the biggest bang for the buck of any of these programs. And if we dilute that again, by offsetting it, we'll just dilute the impact on the overall economy, on getting demand up, and in getting people back to work, because we all do understand once the demand rises in the United States, employment will rise. So for all these reasons, I think, I hope we can move quickly to a principled resolution of some of the issues. I think we've already made some real progress on some structural reforms, which both sides agree to. There are programs, let me just point that, I would find difficult. The GED requirement I don't think helps in terms of getting people back to work. Drug testing I don't think helps to get people back to work. And in fact, in most cases, particularly given this long episode of unemployment, people who are losing jobs now have been working through tough times, and mostly they're very good workers who've been working for 30 years or more. And the idea that they don't qualify unless they have to go sign up for school or do something else is, I think, is not what was intended in the program and not should be part of the program. There are a couple of other issues I mentioned. We talked about work sharing and some other incentives for entrepreneurial business development while on collecting. Those things I think are very valuable. And so, Mr. Chairman, again, I want to thank you for your thoughtful, and not only you, your staff, thoughtful and collaborative approach to this issue, and I think we can make progress.